So basically, I've ran this report on integration system detailed. And in this integration, you can see the system, the template it's using, the template category, the integration tags it may have, if there's any transformation, the direction, event count, workday count, and created date. So if I look at the template category, you will see that the connectors are of multiple types. You have for HCM, you have for financials, you have for benefits, payroll, spend, student, and so on. So these are all the connectors that are available from Workday. So when you create an integration system.
So I was just reading through yesterday, like Boomi has a connector for Workday connector.
Okay.
So I was trying to search if when I was doing an integration system, I was just to see like the core connectors. I was just looking at Boomi. I did not get popped up.
Oh. So Boomi is BOOMI?
Yes.
Okay. Let's have a look. What is Boomi? So you need use a Workday connector to the Workday financial management and human capital management. It's using two types of connectors as a base, right? To configure a connector to communicate with Workday, two set of components, you need Workday connection and Workday operations. So the design provides usable components such as URL, passwords, object data definitions. After building your connection and operations, set up a connector within a process. When you have properly defined the Workday connector within your process, integration map, and from virtual system. So let's see, what do they say? So the URL for the Workday services is this, trailing configure the bracketed and then the version, the username, the password. So the Workday connector represents a single instance, including login. You can use a Workday connector to different services and a pair of this connection to form. When you start building a process, you can set up Workday connection to point to sandbox and URL. When you run it, so it doesn't give you much details about what the connector is about, right? From the looks of it, this is the web service name. And if I go to our integration system, this one does not have the web services enabled. So basically, this is using the core connector worker. So what I understand from this needs to be looked at into more details as to what they are trying to do. So from the looks of it, what it seems like that it is using financial management and human capital templates, HCM templates. And what it is doing is it's asking for a URL and a password. So it seems more like web services rather than a Workday integration connector. So they're calling Workday connector, but this is web services. So if you remember the web services,
default web services, I guess.
I think it's called public web service.
Yeah.
So let's see, financial management. So that's one.
Human capital.
Come on. or the human resources. These would be the public web services that would be exposed if I click on view visible. So I'll create an integration security group, create an integration user, give access to this web services to that current integration user, depending on the sub web services that I need to expose to. Because I would not want to give get input services to the entire public web service or the financial management. But depending on the area, of the web service that I would like to expose for either get access or put access, I would give that security to that integration system group, provide the link to this web service, and give the username and password for that integration user to the vendor. And then they would be able to run these. So these are all the web services operations, like cancel accounting journal, cancel plan publish, and so on. So 371 web services with security groups are included and used by web service. So which web service it's using.
So if I a custom calculation field added to that, let's say for a worker, I have added a custom calculated field. So even that would be able, that value will also be able to be pulled from these public web services.
No. For that, you will need to create another integration where they are able to pull the data from probably a report. So there'll be two separate data sources. So one would be web service, and then what would be a report with the web services link enabled for it.
Okay. So by default, let's say if we go to this account journal, right? Accountant, right? Get one. So it will have the by default data elements, right?
The accountant will have cancel accounting journal.
Yeah. So accounting journal might be object.
It is an object, yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's a web of service operation name. It's a transaction name.
Yeah.
So what do you enable with web services? So you enable transactions with web services. So you can actually perform a transaction with web service. So you can set in a command that, cancel this accounting journal entry. So say, for example, this is connected to your bank. You're getting all your bank transactions into Workday as well, like your statement and everything. So if you're using this financial management public web service and it is using accounting journal, so who has access to cancel accounting journal transaction? So the accountant, accounting supervisor, financial management system implementers, and these security group have these accesses allowed to perform.
My question was more precisely, so when I create a worker, right? So by default, worker will get specific data elements, right?
Yeah, it will be assigned a default security group called employee itself.
Okay, so can I add a couple of more, like based on our organization needs? I might whether the worker is in EU and is eligible for EU status or not, kind of things on the object, right? So those must be by default a worker data element. So is there a possibility to add new calculated fields onto the worker object itself?
Yes, you can. So those are called custom objects.
Oh, okay.
So if I say view custom object, so and a field that is not available by Workday, but you need to create a field for that, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if I look at view custom object, and let's say I'm looking at the worker data source on the business object worker, Okay, it's not showing me here, but let me show you in another way. So if I go to Logan McNeil's account, and if I go to additional data, see, Abhi blood, Abhi apparel type, Abhi vehicle type, then apparel itself, and then sizes of apparel, like the t-shirt, say shirt, and then the size, say medium. Then I want to add the trousers, say medium, shoe, let's say 8. So all these are custom objects. The apparel is not a Workday delivered field. It's a custom object on the worker. And the apparel types are your lists related to the custom object. So let's go ahead and try to edit a custom object. So when you're creating a custom object, task name is create custom object. You select the worker or whichever object. Is it position? Is it worker? Is it supervisory organization? Wherever it is. So you provide a name. The web service alias will be automatically generated and allow multiple instances, single instance or no. Field type, type of apparel, apparel type. And then you provide the domains where it is secured.
Okay.
And the display value, type of apparel, and you press OK. And then your Abhi apparel type would be created on the object worker. Business object of worker. And you can manage that business object by going to worker, job, and then additional data.
Okay.
And this custom object can be used anywhere in Workday then on the worker object. Like we just entered these information for Logan. And now you can see that on the worker itself, the apparel has been loaded or has been added to the worker's information. And this information can be pulled in reports, can be pulled in your integration, or however you want to use it.
So this data in that public HCM worker, get worker call, will this be able to pull, or always when there is a custom object, it must be a custom RAS report which has to be created?
In my opinion, it should be a RAS report, but we have our human resources here. Let's say custom. Do we have anything in custom? Let's search. So custom organization, or let's say custom object.
OB.
No. So we don't have the custom object. Not even additional data. So anything that is outside of the standard public web service, that would be not available in your public web service. Additional data. CAPAREL. Let's search for apparel. You can see that we don't have any object for apparel in your HCM. So anything that is outside the ordinary, because public web services are created as a standard interface of Workday. So any and every customization needs to be done outside of the standardized public web service.
Gotcha.
Hi. Hello, Avinash. Avinash, we cannot hear you. Avinash, we cannot hear you. If you're trying to say something, I can't hear him. Funny, can you hear Avinash?
No.
Okay. So Avinash, if you can hear us, we cannot hear you. All right. So we were having some challenges with our transaction logs before. So I would like to come back to it and show you how that's done. If we go to the configure services first on the integration, and in here you will see two transaction services. Let me filter these out. So core connector worker transaction log service and worker transaction log data section fields. So what I was making a mistake was that I was only enabling this. I was not enabling the core connector worker transaction log service. So I went ahead and enabled that. After that, I went to my integration again. Then I'll get the option for configure transaction log service or configure integration transaction log. I kept it at default, subscribe to all transaction type. I'm not going to override it. If I want to, I can. We have the option, but I'm keeping it default. And when I look at my integration events, when I ran it last time,
How did you get that open in new tab?
you right click
Okay, you write it. Okay.
on the item itself, like right click on this, so you'll get this menu.
Okay.
So if I go to the last integration event that I ran on 27th, and if I look at my output file, so now I'm able to see my transaction log data for the worker. So on 27, this happened, this happened, this happened. So all the transaction logs would start coming in for the worker, whatever has changed during that particular time period, based on the subscription that I have enabled. So currently everything is subscribed, so I'm getting all the changes on the worker between those dates. And they will be included in my transaction log. So if your integration is going to use the transaction log to track changes, you're able to do this as well. So you're able to get this information. So for this worker, hire Brad McCormack, rescinded is false, correction or corrected. So in the transaction log, you get these information as well. In correction and so on. Now it all depends on how we want to use it, of course. So a small mistake or a small oversight in the integration system where I need to enable 2 services except for one that was not letting us see the transaction logs. So this and this. All right. Before I jump into Workday Studio as to how it works, let me open the floor for any questions that Avinash you may have or Fani you have. Like Fani and I have been discussing for any open items that he may have. But Avinash, do you have any questions about the concepts or any integrations or anything that you would like to ask?
So Vishal, I have couple
Yeah,
still.
go ahead.
So I created this test funny, right? If you open,
Mm-hmm.
I had enabled the log service. Okay. And I checked the log service. I did
Mm-hmm.
not understand what it is writing, right? In that, what do we generally tend to look at? Right?
Okay, so let's look at your integration first. So you have the transaction log service enabled and the worker transaction log service enabled. Great. Now,
Yeah.
what are your subscriptions? You subscribe to all transactions, correct? Now, let's look at your integration events. So
So
here, how have you set it up? So you've set it up for these 3 people.
yeah.
Your last successful was 0101. So you're currently running it for the whole month of March.
Correct.
And
And
this is for these 3 workers. And it is not a full file. So yes, this should have your transaction log included in the file. So let's open your
no,
output.
you go to that retrieve log, right? Yeah, here I did not see any. Go to it did not get, I think it has to be a full, then it will get something. I will change that. But if you go and see that go back and see the retrieve logs.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we going to look at this, right? I see there is a lot of data around it. First one is server log, but what is that profile log? I did not understand that. Server log is fine.
All right, let's have a look.
What are we going to look into this?
So this is going to give you your transaction details. The average size, the call out, which integration services are being used,
Okay.
cell size, the DIS, worker sync. It's very interesting. We have to format this, to be able to see this.
Come on.
So this should give you an idea as to what this information is about.
Okay, but it doesn't tell me these are the 3 EIDs, right? And so every worker, these are all the components which it interacts, or how do we read?
Yes.
Okay.
So which services or integration subsystems it used to get the data that you are using. The services, the subsystems, and the components that it has used to run the integration, how many calls it made, what was the total time, average time, and so on. And then the byte sizes for the packet transmission as well, min, max memory, and so on. So it'll give you all the intricate components that is used in integration for all the calls for the API. It did
So
on the
does
back
this
end
mean
to run this integration.
in the last column, I will take only one example. It has taken 256 MB, 245 MB for getting this only this data out?
Yeah, I would say so.
Oh my goodness.
No, this is the available memory.
Okay.
Average memory, minimum memory, max memory. So
Something.
max memory use is what defines how much memory you use to run this transaction. This is the available memory on the back end for this particular transaction.
854 MB to run this particular. So it is very resource incentive. Okay.
Right?
Okay, fine. I will look into it a little more later. And
Now,
is there when there is a particular as we schedule, right? So is there a way we get a alert if it failed?
yes, you can set up the alerts as well. So if you go back to your integration system, and here you can set up configured integration notifications. And say you can trigger on status, say completed with errors or completed with warning, failed. Or
Does the alert come into the inbox of Workday or to any Outlook email address?
you can set it up both ways. So you can set it to say HR or integrations. In fact, in the security group, integration, administrator or integration monitor, if you have a security group set up that way, and then you can set it to integration.ers@cf.com. For example, if you have a dedicated email address where you're monitoring all your integration errors that are coming in, you can set it up this way as well. And recipients, let's say Steve Morgan or category. I think we should be able to send it to Logan. Person. Okay. So in here in the recipients, I don't think you can select a single recipient. So you can add email addresses here, your groups here, and like in your integration attachment in the subject, you can say integration completed with errors. Say integration event. And let's say I want to add a line break. Then or let's say in the subject, I want to add integration event has observed dash, and let's say integration status. So I would like to have the status say in the subject. and then semicolon, and then add. In continuation, we put the integration event and the integration event status. So in this way, I can send out notifications if completed with errors, completed with warning, failed or aborted, or any other one that I would like to select and put it on the status. Or I can set it up on trigger on launch that integration has generated. And if I need to create condition rules for it, I can set it up in the rules as well that once a rule condition is met, only then send this notification out.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
And if you like to preview it, of course, it will not give you all the data. You will get a notification in your bell icon for a sample. Of course, it will not give you the integration event or integration status because it has not run as yet, but it'll give you an idea as to what this is. This would look like.
Okay, understood.
Okay. Avinash, can you still communicate with us? Okay. Fani, any other questions you have?
Now, I'll just do some more today and we'll let you know.
Okay, what I'm interested in is in your integration event, why do you not have any data in it?
It's not a full file, I guess.
But there may have been changes applied on Yuli Bowles between 0101 till 821 or Henry Lynch. Let's go ahead and make some changes on Henry Lynch. Let's say change business title. So change it on 327. And let's go ahead and change his location as well. So on the first, let's change it to absolute Canada. So success event submitted. This is completed. See? So there's no compensation change for this person. We just changed the location. Need to remove. So this is now the compensation. So let's look at her lunch again. So his location should be absolute Canada, and so his location is still Toronto, and but his status has changed. His title has changed. So that's good. Job, worker history. Station change, data change. One. Come on. All right. So let's check it out as to is his information completely changed. So now he should have a couple of onboarding tasks with Harry Lynch. But generally speaking, his information should be updated. Location is absolute Canada and his title has changed. So let's rerun your integration. And let's take Ulibowls and out. And it should not be a full file.
Mhm.
While this is running, I would like to check your attributes for your integration. Okay, so this is disabled. And field attributes. This is all included. This is all included. Good. So everything looks to be in order. Let's look at your output file. Also documentation worker count 0. The worker count coming out to be 0. Let's look at one more thing. Let's go to field overrides. And this person is in Canada and his company is GMS Canada Limited. Okay. So your company is USA and active.
Yes. It's put Canada as well.
So let's update this calculated field. USA CAN. So the Global Modern Services Canada Limited. Or is it some different company? Yep. And he is active. He's not terminated. Updated the field. Override. And now let's relaunch the parameter. So you see small little things.
Yeah.
How you configure your integration will impact your output. So you have so many parameters around your integration that you have to keep an eye out as to what you're running and how you're configuring your integration for the desired output. Oh, hi, Avinash. I just saw your message. You're having some problem with your system, so you're not audible. Okay, no worries. We still have, I think, 1 or 2 more days for our classes, and we should be able to wrap it up before the weekend. Friday, I'm not going to be available, but we should be able to wrap up everything by
So
Thursday.
the presentation which you shared, right? Can you actually give it to Cloud Foundry and can I get that?
I did share it with them, but I think I'll create a Google link for that, and I'll share it with you guys as well on the chat too.
Perfect.
Now let's look at your output. Still, you don't have it. So what? Why? Integration details, integration event. Subscription to all transaction types, integration maps. Okay. So sequence generator is there, it's not considered. It should not stop integration to include. So we have this company active. In the selection is active status equal to okay. Just making sure that Henry Lynch is part of this organization, and he is. Active status equal to yes. So define eligibility. Else notifications, subscriptions, integration map, attributes. So what services? Maybe we are missing a service. Let's see. So DIS, we don't need it. Directory delivery service, we don't need it. CSV option. Okay. I think the reason why we are not getting anything is the personal worker status, worker position. And say we don't need leave of absence. Compensation, related person, we don't need it. Let's enable these services. Let's configure them. Let's read in our integration event. Okay. So we are having the issue of citizen status again. So let's remove that. So no value output from applying empty integration map citizen status for citizenship status. I think it was in personal data. Same parameters as last time. Okay. Okay, so we have output and we have the data changes already and the HTML. Okay, great. So now, because we had not included the worker itself in the field attribute for the services, it didn't have any data to populate. And you see the transaction log service as well. So onboarding, assign roles, onboarding setup, compensation change, data change, title change, benefit change. So whatever has happened to the worker during this time from first till today, current moment, it will be all included in the transaction log. And let's look at the changes that we made to the worker. So his location. Retired, modified. Business title is El Senior Director of Payroll. That we added. And we can see the business site name has changed to Absolute Canada. Sounds good. I'll let you guys go. Thank you very much for joining in today. And tomorrow we'll start on the studio. I'll show you how a studio integration runs. What are the parameters? We'll discuss it, and then I'll open the floor for any questions. And if we have any, otherwise, then we'll go towards closing our reading.
Sure.
Okay.